From Justin Siena High School, it's the Petaluma Trojans and the Justin Siena Braves. Varsity football in the Vine Valley Athletic League starts right now on Trojan Live. On air! Hey, good evening, everyone. I am Griffin Epstein here at Dodd Field for a key Vine Valley Athletic League game. It is the second game of league play for both Justin Siena and Petaluma, and both teams coming off disappointing losses, both in need of a win. Petaluma coming off a tough loss to American Canyon last week, but they were without star running back Garrett Freitas. They'll get Freitas back, and they're hoping that that will trigger their offense to a big game tonight, and they really need a victory if they're going to be competitive in the Vine Valley Athletic League tonight. Meanwhile, for Justin Siena, they have a very potent passing attack. The Trojan secondary will certainly be challenged, but it will be interesting to see if Justin Siena can rebound from their heartbreaking loss, a 1-point loss to Casa Grande last week. Should be a great game, should be a close one between two teams that set up to be very even. The full game with play-by-play and more is coming up next, right here on Trojan Live. And we welcome you up top, Dodd Stadium. Down in the intro, you saw the JV game wrapping up behind me. The Trojans falling short in that one. But now the big boys are out. The varsity team getting their final warm-ups in on what should sure be a rowdy crowd in store for them. Just like it was last week in American Canyon, it is homecoming for Justin Siena. It is a whiteout in the student section. They should be loud, and it should be a challenging atmosphere for this offense for Petaluma to run in. We mentioned it in the intro, though. Garrett Freitas is out there. He will play. Had the ankle sprain against El Molino. Wanted him to go against American Canyon last week, but it just was not going to happen. He did not practice all week long, but he's ready for this one. He was warming up. His cuts look good, but he's had a lot of angle problems. You do worry about that angle, but the Trojans are going to need him to get their offense going, and they have to have hope as well. Justin Siena last week against Casa Grande, allowing 370 yards on the ground to a Casa team that barely rushed the football before that. So the Trojans absolutely have a chance to open things up if they can get Freitas going, and it might also help other aspects of the offense going, including Cole Powers, who was not good at all last week against American Canyon. He actually threw for negative passing yards, -3 passing yards, a couple interceptions, and obviously all those turnovers, the block punt at the end of the second quarter. Trojans can't afford that. We expect another close game between these two teams. Identical records, and both teams coming off losses that they want to get some revenge on. Justin Siena blew that lead against Casa Grande, and it was mixed extra points in the end that made the difference in their 1-point loss. Casa scoring the winning touchdown with less than a minute to go. And they have quite a passing attack. We mentioned it. The Trojan secondary is going to be challenged. Barrett Donahue, he's a 3-year senior starter for the Braves. He is a very talented quarterback. He threw for 280 yards against the Gauchos last week. And a Trojan secondary that has been up and down this season, has had some great moments and some bad moments. They'll need to be up to their best, but the whole defense played very well against the Wolves last week, even if the score is deceiving. How will it go? Well, you know that both teams have been waiting all week long for this one to get back out on a football field after what happened last week. The loser's going to fall into the cellar of the Vine Valley, and especially for Petaluma, the way the season has gone in with Vintage next, they really feel like they need this win for the momentum of the season. But Justin Siena feels the same thing. They have the most returners out of any Vine Valley team. They had great expectations. They don't want to fall to 0-2 either. Captain's meeting at Fit Field. Kickoff is next. Is a rockin' and a rollin'. Just had a gorgeous rendition of the national anthem. There's the student section to my left. Whiteout conditions. They gave everyone a shirt. If it was a little bigger stadium, it would look like State College here. Justin Siena, confident with their offense, confident with their 3-year starting quarterback in Donahue, and they decided to take the ball first. So we'll see the Trojan defense out there. After a very good performance against American Canyon last week, Yes, they did lose the game 43-16, but 29 of those points were scored off turnovers. I'm sorry, though. Trojans elected to receive. They will get the football first. So a chance to make amends for the disastrous performance for the offense. Again, Garrett Freitas, 377 yards coming into today on 36 carries, out with an ankle sprain last week. Everything was bogged down for Petaluma. Now trying to turn it around. What a key one for both of these teams. We're underway. Line drive, bouncer, Freitas gets it. He's returned one for a touchdown already. He's a patient runner as well. Dragged down at the 30. Not horrible field possession for the Trojans. Field position, it was a major issue last week against American Canyon. They were just put on the back foot. And the Wolves controlling that field position even when the game was 14-7 in that first half. In a very competitive football game, Trojans only were outgained by the Wolves by 50 yards. And a lot of players thought they were the better team last week. But in the end, what counts is what's on the scoreboard. And we'll see what the Trojan offense can do. Interesting formation to start here. Garrett Freitas lined out to the left. And the give up the middle is to Dominic Butts for a 3-yard carry, and that will bring up a 2nd and 7. Trojans also dealing with other injuries. Running back Dante Ratto out for the year with a broken arm, and there were a lot of cheap shots in that game, especially late against American Canyon, that did cause some hurt for Petaluma. Well, definitely a new look. Freitas again splitting out to the wide. And now it's Pedersen in the backfield. Powers faking. He's looking for Freitas. Just over his fingertips. And that is why he was splitting out wide. That blinding speed. And he had beat the Braves quarterback. Powers just overthrew it. A man in his face. That was a more confident-looking throw, though, from Powers, and that's the good news. The bad news is it's 3rd and long, 3rd and 9, and the student section chanting defense. Freitas runs a... I don't have it anymore. He runs it at a 4.3, I think, 40. I mean, he's the speediest player on the field. You saw it there. Diamond form for this 3rd and long. Powers runs the triple option, fakes it. He gets the first. Like what you have to see if you're a Trojan fan from Cole Powers so far as he gets the first down with a 12-yard run out to the 42. Was calm on that 2nd down pass, even with a blitzer in his face. And they're taking the run for positive yardage. We mentioned his passing yards were negative last week. He also went backwards rushing-wise, and it was almost funny when I was filling out the stats. Everyone's stats were going the wrong way. The offense was just so disastrous last week. We have whistles here with 10:52 left to go in the first. And a conversation with head coach Rick Chris and the referee. They're taking Butts off. Does look a little woozy. I don't know if there's an issue there. You certainly hope not with the injuries Petaluma's dealt with. Hobie's in the backfield. Again, a diamond form. Powers again the fake up the middle. A couple yards there, and they throw off his waistband as well. He maybe picks up a yard, and that brings up a 2nd down and 9. It is definitely loud here at an absolutely packed Dodge Stadium for homecoming. And it's unfortunate for the Trojans that their 3rd and final road game at VVAL will also be homecoming for Sonoma Valley. It's always the rough end of the stick. The crowds are rocking at homecoming no matter what. They are really trying to give it to Powers. He goes up the middle again and picks up 5. And so far, the offensive line doing its job. Getting some holes. Powers looking confident. And adding to his rushing totals, came in 23 rushes, 86 yards, and 4 touchdowns. O-line wasn't great last week against a bigger American Canyon squad. It's a smaller defensive line, but very experienced. They all returned from last year. I mentioned it's just a very experienced team overall. Nowhere to go that time. Maybe backwards was Derek Povey. And so that will bring up a 3rd and... No, that was 3rd, my bad. 4th and 3. And with the ball right at the midfield at the 50,
it's go for it time for Petaluma on a key early 4th down. We're going to rule it 4th and 1. We're seeing a lot of Pomey to start, not Prieto, who's been the workhorse back of late. Instead, they give it to Freitas on the sweep, and a good run by the all-SCL running back of the year in 2017. He picks up 11 yards, the jet sweep, and Freitas' ankle looks A-okay so far. He had a slow start against Montgomery in the season opener when he was also dealing with both ankle issues and strep throat, and then brought it on in the second half. And even though you don't want to have Freitas thinking about that injury, I think Coach Chris approaches this that you want to play conservatively, especially early, and not put too much wear and tear on his ankle after he really has gotten no practice in the last 2 weeks. The fake to Pomey, late handoff from Freitas. Freitas has got a hole. No one's going to touch him. Touchdown, Trojans. Freitas is off and running, and he's got this Trojan offense moving in the right direction, 6-0 with 8:25 left to go here in the first quarter. That's why the Trojans need their best player out on the field, and he delivers a huge hole up the middle, and it is so hard to stop. Player with Freitas' speed, but also his agility and skill. 35 yards to the house. That key 4th down, remember that one? Trojans converted, they were patient. Spread out the field, and that looked more like the offense we saw against Albolino. Second half against Montgomery and Santa Rosa. Hagia will boot the PAT through. He remains perfect on extra points. Hagia with a good game last week against American Canyon. 3 for 3 on field goals, but the Trojans now 17 for 17 on point after attempts. Trojans wanted a quick start, something they've struggled with this year. They get just that. They lead 7-0, 8:25 remaining in the first. The Braves defense struggled last week against Casa Grande, 370 yards on the ground, and the end, the final score of that one, giving up 36 points to a Gaucho team that was winless before. And you're seeing so far why this Braves defense is susceptible. Hagia will boot it away for the Trojans. It'll be interesting to see what he does here. That was another issue last week against American Canyon. He booted it out of bounds 5 times, I believe. And that's at least success that he's not going to boot it out of bounds. And this is going to be terrific coverage. Exceptional special teams coverage by Petaluma. And Coach Chris has to be very happy with the disciplined effort we've seen so far. And the Braves will get it at the 36. So now we are going to see the talent on the Braves side, and we've mentioned it a lot, but he could be the best quarterback in the Vine Valley League. And Barrett Donahoe tore apart the Casa Grande defense last week, and he started as a sophomore in varsity, which is remarkable as a quarterback. That's so rare. 7 starters overall return on this offense. We got 7 out of 11 starters returning. That is a luxury in high school football. Quick slant pass is incomplete and dropped, but a little bit behind the wide receiver, Luigi Albano Dino, the 6'3", 165-pound senior. There's some big wide receivers as well to contend with for the Braves. They're going to pass the football a lot. And the Trojan secondary has to be happy to have Freitas there as well. He's currently not on the field, though. The question is, will he even play on defense? But he's an exceptional defender. Trojans used Gianni Johnson last week, had his moments, had an interception, but up and down wasn't great. Dono scrambling out, pointing at receivers. He pump fakes a man, and it is dragged down for a couple-yard gain. That was still impressive by Dono, juking and pump faking as Trojans defensive lineman splayed and is missed. But he only gets about 2, and it's going to be about a 3rd and 8 at the 41 for the Braves. Trojan defense last week only giving up 49 passing yards through the air, granted to a Wolves team that didn't like to pass, but they have maybe the best runner in the VVAL, and Eddie Birdsong, the Wolves, and he was totally shut down. Dono has time, over the middle, the pass is complete. Hartman on the tackle, but a seam in the secondary, and the Braves get a key moving of the chains, and a good job by Bono Dito making up for his earlier drop with the 20-yard completion. Albano Dito with a 68-yard touchdown pass, or catch, reception would be the word there, against the Gauchos last week back in Petaluma. Braves could have some big plays. They had 2 over 60-yard pass plays, and they had an over 50-yard rushing play. Trojans have done a pretty good job this year, though, limiting those big plays. Donahoe in the shotgun, high snap, handles it well. We see our first run for the Braves up the middle. A couple yards gain there. Starting running back is Francisco Morales Florentino. Only a sophomore, 5'7", 160 pounds. It's kind of a smaller Freitas. Very shifty as well, and he went for 80 rushing yards against the Gauchos, and they don't need him much. There's plenty of depth on this Braves team. Dono scrambling, and he gets away from the first tier of defensive linemen and slides down for a first down. You can see his poise in the pocket, his senior experience. He looks like a quarterback that could play on Saturdays. Just the way he's carrying himself out there so far. Another first down for the Braves, and they're moving the football in the right direction. They're down to the 28-yard line. 6 minutes left to go here in the first quarter. An entire Trojan defense, hands on their hips. See Kenny Alexander on the right side there. He's been terrorizing quarterbacks of late. Good pass protection for the most part. Quick slant pass. And he breaks a tackle down to the 11. Impressive job there by the same man again, Albano Dito. The tight end, he's playing that tight end position, listed as a wide receiver, but out of the slot. And the Trojans, so far, have had no answer for him. His third catch already. And the Trojans had a couple missed tackles last week as well. That's something you want to watch if you're a Petaluma fan. The Braves down to the 11 and threatening on their first possession to answer Petaluma. Donahoe with all day over the middle, tipped and incomplete. Great defense by the Trojans. Secondary was Connor Pedersen, the captain of the secondary, getting the hand in on that pass. It was a tight window for Donahoe with the Trojans in that zone. And it brings up a 2nd and 10. Pedersen, talked to him last week. He's so poised. He's a great leader. It's a lot of fun to be around as well. Leads the team in tackles with 18 tackles. Tackle for loss as well. He stepped up and been a big part of the secondary. We haven't seen Freitas out there. Gianni Johnson has been in the spot, so I don't think Coach Chris is going to risk Freitas out there. Ball is on the ground. Miscommunication there between Donahoe and his running back. And the Braves lucky just to fall on it and settle for a 3rd down, but Morales Florentino did not seem to understand that play, or some miscommunication there. Under 5 to go. And a big 3rd down. This feels like an offensive game. That's what it was for the Braves last week. It was who had the ball last was going to win the game. Trojans break the blitz. Dono on his back foot, incomplete. Broke it up. The Trojans all over it, trying to scream, but Pedersen on the pass up. Pass break up there, and that's going to bring up a 4th down. The Braves struggle with their kicking game, so wouldn't be surprised to see them go for it here on 4th down. They missed 2 extra points last week, and after that happened, gave up on extra points. And they just went for 2 points every time, and they are going to go for 4th down here. Be interesting to see if Petaluma defense brings some pressure again. That work got Donahoe out of his comfort zone that time, and he kind of just had to let a butterfly go. And comes in motion. Dono's got him, and touchdown Braves. so patient and poised. Both teams convert key 4th downs in this one. And we'll see what they try, extra point or 2 points, but there was one weapon and one weapon only out there for the Braves in that first half. In that first drive, as Albino Dito, 4 catches and a touchdown, and he was pretty much the offense. Often if you do rely on just one person, you can start to key in on him, so it'll be interesting to see as the game goes along. They are going to go for the extra point. That looked confident. You definitely, when things go wrong and an extra point might cost you the football game, you're motivated. That extra point looked like they were ready to get back on the field. So a long drive for the Braves, but Donahoe really doing a good job conducting the Braves down the field. We have a tie game at 7, 4:28 remaining here in the first. Braves to kick it away. Freitas back again. Brought the opening kickoff for Petaluma back for a touchdown, but he's not going to be able to bring that one back. That was crushed over Freitas' head. That is how you do a kickoff there. That's something that Petaluma would love to be able to do, but I just don't think Hogya has the leg for that. So they had to survive with squibbers and make it work. So Petaluma offense back out there after their opening touchdown. Freitas was strong, but Powers looked a lot more confident, and I was pretty brutally honest on the broadcast last Friday. Powers, that was probably the worst game I have seen him play in a Petaluma uniform. I mean, he did not look comfortable out there. He was making all sorts of mistakes, and he just looked totally off. And he's off on a run again. Powers has a block down the sideline, and Powers is going to take it all the way to the 13. An exceptional job by the Braves to knock him out. But just as I say his name, Cole Powers showing off the legs. He flips the field with a 60-yard run. His longest run of the season. My goodness. What a start to this game by Cole Powers. And they are using him with his legs to start in the read option. And the Braves have not been ready for it. Mentioned 86 rushing yards coming into the day for Powers. He nearly doubles that just based on his one carry. They just go right up the middle there, and there's no room. That time it was Prieto. They used Pomey on that first drive almost exclusively. Prieto was really the only offensive player to have a good game last week for the Trojans. And he broke out in that Terra Linden game 3 games ago when Pomey went out with the injury. And that was electric against Alvalino, including a 90-yard touchdown run. And he's proven to be a workhorse. They're going to take it to Freitas out wide. Freitas making a tackle. He's into the end zone. Touchdown, Trojans. This Petaluma offense is looking like a whole different animal from last week. What a performance early. So 13-7. Injured player out there. Cheerleaders celebrating. Justin Siena's student section has gotten their speaker to work. I'd say it's a little too loud, but they're playing a song that if you watched Trojan Live this morning, you may have seen someone singing it. No spoilers on that, but they do have to shut it off. It is the 21st night of September, and the Trojans hoping for some magic. Earth, Wind, and Fire believed it was a great night. Injured player still on the field for Justin Siena on the Freitas run. But it's just so interesting that when you put Freitas back out there, and even if he's not the one that they're running the offense through, it makes the offense so much better. And I had the analogies actually in college football I was talking about this week with Stanford and Bryce Love, and he was not playing last week for Stanford. Their offense really struggled. In their 2 earlier games, Love didn't have good games, but it made KJ Costello, the Stanford quarterback, so much better. And I think that's what you're seeing with Petaluma out there, with Freitas just out there, whether they're putting the offense through him. It makes Pomey better, it makes Prieto better, and especially it makes his good pal, Cole Powers, a hell of a lot better. Hogya on for the extra point. made 3 field goals last week, which was one bright spot. He's a confident kicker, especially from a short range, just to get face. So 14-7, quick strike there. Powers on the 60-yard run. Set that up, and then Freitas caps it in Artie's second touchdown of the night. 3:28 left to go in the first quarter. Petaluma 14, Justin Siena 7. We're doing a good job so far dampening the atmosphere at this nearly sold out Dodd Stadium. We can see the Trojan fans as well, and it looks kind of deceiving on the way they build these stands. There's a lot more Petaluma fans over there. I was over there during the JV game, and it was like, hey, there's probably about 300 fans that made the journey. It looks a lot smaller when you look at it from afar. That was bobbled and dangerous, and Petaluma eats it up. Excellent tackle made there. Again, the speaker is really, really loud. If you're able to hear me, tackle made for the Trojans. Braden Cristobal. Joey Alioto also in. Special teamers give an opportunity for players to set up, show their talents, and potentially get some playing time. And so far, it's looked about better. They have to turn the music off once the offense starts, unless they want to distract their offense, which I don't think the Trojan fans would be unhappy about. Donahoe give to Florentino, and only picks up a few, but being bought down by Kenny Alexander. Trojans breakout defensive lineman. Ayers also in on the tackle. What a story. I feel like we've mentioned it every single broadcast that Alexander has been, never playing football before. CM number 51 coming in, first year of football, and he has just been a handful for O-line, stand on every single game, and it started even the first night against Montgomery. He was a factor. Donnie over the middle, it's caught again. It's that same spot. Over the middle, there's a hole right there, and Donahoe has seen it. 5th catch of the evening for Albano Dito. 6'3", 165, and there are not a lot of Trojan defenders out there that can match that size. Jacob Habbard, about 6'2", the free safety, the only player that can even get close to that. The size isn't great in the secondary. Donahoe rolling out, again waving at his wide receivers. He has nowhere to go, and he's brought down for the sack. Excellent pursuit by the Trojan defense. Staying patient, and excellent coverage that time by the Trojans. Lucas Stevenson in on the sack for Petaluma. They are getting some new looks out there. And another player that hasn't played football since freshman year, but this looks like an energized Trojan team. Didn't have an amazing week of practice, according to many, but they look very ready from the disappointing result last week, about 30 miles south of here. Donahoe fakes, and he is going to get swallowed up. The Trojan defensive line bringing the boom early. And it was Alexander who got in there. But this Trojan defensive line is starting to cause more issues for a much smaller O-line. Sebita, the senior leader on that defensive line, also in there. And it brings up a 3rd and 15 for the 42, 1:13 remaining in the first quarter. You almost know where Donahoe's going to go here. And if you're that Trojan secondary with Gianni Johnson, Jack Hartman, Derek Pobey at the linebacker position, Jacob Hafford, you've got to know where Donahoe wants to look and take it away from him. Try to give him another option. There's this deep wide receiving corps, but so far, it's been a one-man show for Brandon LaRocco's Braves offense. Clock running to under a minute. The sun is set on Dodd Stadium. Donahoe scrambling, and he's brought it down again. Mariano Harmamillo, this time with the sack. The Trojans sack Donahoe 3 times on that possession, and the Braves are going to have to punt the football. Will not have to run another play in this quarter, but what a first quarter it has been for Petaluma. Braves were able to score that first possession, but you had to like the effort in that first quarter even there. The coverage has been good for the most part for Petaluma, but now the defensive line bringing some more pressure with blitzes, as we talked about. Donahill's poised, but he is not finding anyone. They are going to get the punt off before the clock runs off. This is a wobbler and a duck. That ball was quacking, and it only goes to the 40, and it's going to be excellent starting position, field position for Petaluma at the 41. 1.3 seconds left to go, but the clock is stopped, so that means that the Trojans will get one play here before they switch sides of the field. It's been a good disciplined game by both sides. We have seen no penalties, no turnovers, and that's definitely a relief, really, after the last 2 games for the Trojans. It was a sloppy game, even though they destroyed Albolino on homecoming night 2 weeks ago and put 51 points on the board. They weren't clean. This has looked very clean so far. Obviously don't want to jinx it. Delayed handoff. It's Prieto down the middle, carrying defenders with him all the way to the 36, and the senior workhorse running back puts the exclamation point on this first quarter for Petaluma. This offense is running on full fire. We've reached the end of one here from Napa. It's Petaluma 14, Justin Siena 7. With identical records coming in 3-2 for the Division 4 Braves, 0-1 in the VVAL League. Exact same for the Trojans, except playing in Division 3. And that's going to be encroachment. There's some sloppiness by the Braves and some frustration. And barely had to even do a hard count there to get Sahil Dunwall to jump for the Braves. Trojans will get another free 5. They'll move down to the 29. It's 1st and 5, 11:50 to go in the second quarter. We have more whistles. No one seems to know why there are whistles, but there is something being signaled up to the PA box. Try to figure out what that is. Whatever the case, still 1st and 5. They wanted to reset the clock. The clock shouldn't have been running. That was the issue. They're still not happy. They're still pointing at the scoreboard. All right. Now they're ready. Take 3, 3rd time's the charm. Up the middle, out of nowhere was Freitas. I thought they had given it to the fullback, and Freitas like a blur through your living room for a first down. Puts his right foot on the ground, and he is a blur by you. Another first down, and Freitas is going to easily go over 400 yards here just in his 5th game, averaging 10 yards per carry, 94 yards per game. Coming in with 3 touchdowns, but already 2 more. He has 5 touchdowns on the year. And if he can stay healthy, he could be the best player in this entire league, or at least the best running back. That time they give to the fullback. A good tackle there on Prieto. It was Marcus Nunez, the 6-pound, 215 defensive lineman, with the tackle for the Braves. And that brings up a 2nd and 9 from the 18 for the Trojans, trying to make this a 2-possession ball game. Very different schedules for these two, even though they do have the same records. Justin Siena has played some very weak teams and some very good teams. Powers is going to fake it. The slot, it is intercepted. That is the last thing you want. Tried a slot pass, was looking for, I believe he was looking for Pedersen out of the slot, and it was well covered, and that's just what you don't want to throw of your Powers. And that was the one thing right now that it looks like for this Petaluma offense. You got to stay disciplined, and you can't turn over the football. And they broke rule number 2 on that. Braves will take over deep in their own territory, but a key interception after Powers had 2 of them. And I guess if you're a Trojan fan, at least it's not a pick 6. Powers threw 2 of those last week. So Donahoe back to the controls, and they're going to try a run this time. Not a lot to go for Florentino. It looked like a late kind of shove out there wide on John Candow by another Brave player. No flag. They've been calling it pretty loosely so far. Picks up actually 6 more than it looked on the run by Morales Florentino. Mentioned the schedules. Justin Siena fell in their first game to a really good Piedmont team. They are the top 2nd-ranked team in Division 4. Then they played Healdsburg the next week, and Healdsburg no longer has a football team, and now there's the undisciplined on the Trojan side. Good hard count, though. As Powers, that was his 4th interception, by the way, on the year. The 9th turnover for the Trojans, something they've certainly struggled with. But it was Chris Oliveira drawn off sides. Senior backup defensive lineman that time, and it makes an automatic first down with only 4 yards to go on that second down. So 1st and 10 from the 22. Candow now in at quarterback number 9. See him in the left-hand corner of your screen. Give to Morales Florentino, nowhere to go. Brought it down by the ankles. Another terrific tackle by the Trojans. Defensive line is, when they brought pressure, has really caused issues. Obviously, those 3 sacks on the second possession for the Braves. And Danny DeCarli, Nick Sabita really anchor that. Those 2 seniors, they're the only ones on this team that have been here for 3 years. And they got good playing time back at sophomore. They're great leaders as well. That was Sabita right up the middle. It caused Donahoe to reset a little quickly, and Morales Florentino, remember he's only a sophomore, cannot hold on. He was a talented player, small and shifty, but the drop there. Braves had a couple of those last week, and Brandon LaRocco was not happy about that. That brings up a 3rd and 11 for the 21. 9:09 remaining in the second. Night has fully descended here in the beautiful Napa Valley. Justin Siena on the northwest side of the city of Napa, about 100,000, and just about, you probably walk there, about 10 minutes to the south of Memorial Stadium is we're going to have whistles and a timeout on the Braves. First timeout charge to Justin Siena. They're going to talk this one over. They have all 3 left. May as well if you're Coach LaRocco. But just about probably a 20-minute walk, about a mile drive to the south at beautiful Memorial Stadium, which Trojans will not be able to visit this year, unfortunately. They have Vintage and Napa both at home, but Casa Grande taking on the Vintage Crushers. Casa coming off the comeback victory over Justin Siena last week. And for Vintage, they had a bye, but they come in as the heavy favorites for the Vine Valley Athletics, especially after last week. And we saw Sonoma Valley shock Napa at Memorial Stadium. A Division 4 team in Sonoma Valley beating a Division 1 team in Napa. That was one of the biggest upsets that I've seen in high school football. That was remarkable, really. Sonoma Valley is hosting American Canyon. That's an interesting one between 2 1-0 teams. So that's your Vine Valley Athletic League schedule for the night, with Napa on a much-needed bye. Trojans will be back home facing Vintage next week, and that's why it makes this game all the more important. Certainly the Trojans, if they play their best, they can beat anyone in this league, but Vintage is a stiff test, and you really risk going 0-3. Donahoe's gone all day. He's got a man. It's broken up. Havard got a hand on it. Wasn't really able to bat it down, but Candow was in on coverage, and the senior quarterback who's really done a good job in his first full year on varsity helps break it up. Guess who it was again? Number 88. He's going to be in Coach Chris's dreams tonight, and not in a good way. But that time, unable to make the catch was Albano Dito. So that will bring up a 4th down. The effective passes for Donahoe were those short slants, but this Trojan team is playing experienced, even if they're not as experienced as you think, based on their numbers. They did not have a lot of defensive starters returning from last year. It's an interesting kind of scrambling punt formation. Freitas is back. Watch the fake here. It is an Aussie-style low-lining punt. There's also a flag. Freitas is wise not to pick this up. It rolls to the 40, but this might be false start, and I think if you're Coach Chris, you'd be happy for them to do it even more in the Shout as your own end zone. It is a false start. So we'll see if the Braves decide to do it again. Defense last year that was exceptional. At one point, 3 shutouts in a row, but only 5 starters returning from that team, and only 10 players overall in the defense with, and not even some with no playing time, such as Shattuck and Pedersen, who returned on that team that went 82 last year and finished second in SCL. 1 year ago from this weekend was their only loss in the Sonoma County League to Annalee. Kind of reflected that American Canyon game that we saw last week where things just didn't go right. And last year the Trojans flipped a page. Never lost a game, and obviously nowhere near as good as the VVAL, but never lost another game in the Sonoma County League. I don't know if that's realistic this time out, but they'd love to do it. This is a booming punt. Downs at the 40, and it rolls right about to midfield. Trojans will get some good yardage nonetheless out of that, and Petaluma will take over at midfield with 8:39 remaining in the second quarter. Powers back to work, coming off that interception, and you hope if you're Petaluma didn't lose any confidence. Freitas has a cut, cutting back to midfield, spinning it down to the 35. Those awkward-looking tackles make you nervous, but he comes up without a lip in his step, and he is showing the electricity. It's a whole new offense tonight as he goes for 15 yards. Petaluma will move the ball to the 35 as the clock runs under 8:30. And it should, as the game go on, and the Braves have to key in more on Freitas. They have the other options, both at fullback with Pareto and Pomey, but if you can trust Powers to throw the football, it's always an option, and something's done a little more of. Powers with the fake that time, and 8 more yards, and this dual option, sometimes you'll see they'll run the triple option. That was more typical of last year. They've gone to more of a dual option, less tosses. That's just what Powers is more comfortable with, but nonetheless, it is really fooling the Braves. They do not look comfortable out there. They gave up 370 rushing yards. You keep on mentioning it. Last week, it's Casa. They missed tackles, and really the defense was lamented by Coach Brandon LaRocco after the game for the Braves. Kind of see why. This has been huge for Petaluma to get some confidence. The fake to the fullback. Powers thinking about running, and he is wrestled down. A hard tackle at the 38. Good fake by Powers, but there was all sorts of blue jerseys in the backfield. And smart just to get back to about the line of scrimmage. So it's 3rd and 3 from the 28. Haven't seen a lot of success up the middle for Pomey or Prieto. Wasn't a great week last week for the offensive line, who loses 3 of their 5 starters from last year to Carly and Sabina, the returners. Carly, the setter. Powers under center. Powers fakes, has a man in his face, a lob, and it's caught! Exceptional throw by Powers to Freitas, and they convert the first. Wasn't the prettiest looking throw, but Little Rainbow and Freitas with his athleticism goes up and gets the football. And the Trojans convert another first down. They've done an exceptional job on 3rd downs tonight. Coming in with 52 receiving yards per game, but it's no doubt been a very good rushing attack. 242 rushing yards on the ground coming into the net. The toss out wide to Freitas. He's got a hole. Good job by the Braves, able to get down. Freitas got the hole in his own line, and when that's happened, there's been all sorts of issues. That time only a pickup of about 5 before a whole host of Braves wrestled him to the ground. Second and about 5 from the 13 for the white and purple. Trojans 294.8 yards per game coming in, 28 points per game. But it's been up and down. It's really that points per game is really skewed by that Albolino game we mentioned, the 56-31 victory over the Lions, who don't have the best defense, to be honest with you. In that homecoming game, there's a woman for Justin Siena who's very excited. She's screaming very loudly. We have whistles. We have a false start. Student section hasn't really been into making lots of noise, so I can't give credit for them on that, but someone jumped, and it backs up the Trojans to second and 11. Trojans defeated Terra Linda 21-7, kind of an ugly win to defeat the other Trojans down south. Freitas had a big play that kind of put away the game, but it was 14-7. Early, there was a lot of offense, and then it slowed down to a defensive affair. I don't think that's going to happen tonight, but you never know. Powers looking, touchdown! Spectacular! It's Pedersen! Pedersen celebrated with Freitas in his quarterback. That's the passing skill you want to see. It's the first passing touchdown all season long for the Trojans. And with the Braves keying in on Freitas up the middle, that's how that passing game gets opened up. And the wide receiver Pedersen with his first touchdown reception as well, and it's 20-7. Hagya, right down the middle, 21-7. As the Trojans go 50 yards down the field. Didn't need a big play that time. They were poised, and Powers to Pedersen, finishing it off. 4:57 remaining in the second. 21-7 here from Justin Siena. Best offensive performance for Petaluma coming into this one, eliminating that Albolino victory, was against Santa Rosa in a loss. They lost 42-26. Up on the Panthers turf to a very good Panthers team with some exceptional running backs. It was a poor game for the defense, especially the defensive line. The offense was very good in that first half, though, too. This is maybe the best we've seen them. We have a flag. I didn't see anyone touch the football. I'm not sure what that was. We'll await the signal. It was almost an onside, but Huggins just has these swimmers. They're not really onside kicks. That's what Petaluma's done. And again, we mentioned it 4 times. He kicked it out of bounds against American Canyon, and it just put the Trojan defense on the back foot, even though they played well. They have horrible field position. It looks like they're going to try this all over again with under 5 left to go here in this first half. Justin Siena mentioned their first 2 games, losing 28-7 to a really good Piedmont team, beating Healdsburg 61-0, and really adding the ultimate insult after that game. The Greyhounds voted to end their season, and they canceled their football program for the rest of the year after that 61-0 beatdown here in Napa, and then beat Armio 40-14 in Fairfield. That's the most impressive victory, I would say, of the year. It's not a bad team. Armio, those Fairfield teams are always good. Exceptional play to catch the football at the 47 on the squibber, and if it gets through, it can cause issues. But it was Nolan Dunkel, a guard, who showed some hands play there. Good starting field position for the Braves in Donahue at the 47. Braves beat Hercules 39-8. Not an exceptional team, and then the 1-point loss last week to Casa Grande that they blew the lead. Now they trail here to the Braves, to the Trojans, needing some help from Dono and their offense. Maybe they can get into the running out. By far the best carry of the evening Morales Florentino with an 8-yard carry. That's the only running back we've seen for the Braves offense. But the best carry so far, Cole Coaches, who's been a nice story, also on the defensive line, comes in for the tackle for the Trojans. Coach is making his 8th tackle of the season. Donahoe will give it again to Florentino Morales. Hard-headed, somehow he spun out of it. Getting carried downfield by his offensive lineman. We have a late flag. It's possible the hit was helmet to helmet. I didn't get a great look at it. Nope, it's holding. That's hard for the Braves. That was a nice run by Florentino Morales. And he even got the teamwork with the offensive line, kind of carrying him downfield. But forget that it ever happened. 4:11 remaining here in the second. Justin Siena will get the ball to start the second half, so you want to score and then get the ball to start the second half if you're a Braves fan. A long discussion here. There's 2 flags now on the ground. All sorts of laundry. And a long conversation by the 3 zebras in the middle. Trojans have varied in discipline, really started the year not looking like a team that lost the vast majority in graduation. But penalties have gotten worse of late. 360 penalty yards on 44 penalties coming into this one. There's a sideline warning on the Braves. That's that signal. So that's not a penalty, just a warning for now. You get 1 warning, and then if you do it again, you're hit on the wrist with a 15-yarder. Student section for the Braves trying to give their team some encouragement. They were able to march down the field, converting a 4th down to tie it up at 7 on their first possession. But since then, defensive line has been in Donahoe's face, and the senior quarterback has not had a fun time. Screen pass out wide. That's where key tackling comes in. A good job there by Gianni Johnson to make the tackle. He's in there for Freitas, and he made an interception last week, but was also burned a couple times by Vance Eschenberg, the American Canyon quarterback. I think they've seen something in the junior quarterback, another player that comes off out of that JV team from last year with no varsity experience, but you just don't want to risk your best player on the field, I think, on a defense at quarterback where you're debatably more easy to get hurt with your ankle pedaling backwards. Audible call here. Donahoe looks to the sideline and you can see the signal being made. However, there is some communication, and we have a timeout by the Braves. Bright light in the sky. That's the moon. It's a waning gibbous on this night of September 21st, late September. Beautiful day in the Napa and Sonoma Valleys. High of 80, bright and sunny, and a beautiful evening as well. And a pleasant night, I'd say. Upper 60s, light breeze blowing through, and it was a bright atmosphere coming in for a packed stadium here at Dodge Stadium. It's pretty small, but it makes it feel very full, and that's part of the community aspect, again, especially in a private school like Justin Siena, smallest school in all of Vine Valley, only 550 students. Donahoe scrambling, still looking downfield. He's got a man. Exceptional play. Touchdown, Braves. That is all Donahoe there. And when your quarterback scrambles, you tell the wide receivers, just keep on running, run some routes, run around, get open. And eventually, John Candow, who was on the defense, could not stay with his wide receiver. And Donahoe with the touchdown pass, and he gets the Braves back in this. That's the kicker, who, I don't have a number on him, but the kicker who makes the touchdown catch and kicks through the extra point. They've looked fine on PAT so far after concern from last week. And just like that, the Braves are back in this football game, and they put some energy into this homecoming ground. 21-14, 3:13 remaining in the second quarter. Trojans have 24 seniors on this varsity team, 13 juniors, 2 sophomores. Lost 22 seniors from that team last year that lost to Acalanes in the first round of the NCS playoffs after going 8-2 in FCL, including starting quarterback Justin Wolbert and leading threat in Isaiah Blomgren. Another booming kick. Fans love it here, but Freitas to get a return. He's the obviously key returner. Stops and cuts to the right. Now they're able to bring him down. I mean, it's scary if you're an opposing team to see Freitas cut, stop, find a hole. But a good job by the Braves to bring him down. And this is a huge possession here. If the Braves can get a stop, potentially, this is a one-possession game heading into the locker room. Without Petaluma felt in complete control of this. If you're Brandon LaRocco, you can't be unhappy with the score, but Petaluma can kind of make their stamp on this second half, especially the way their offense is played. They haven't had to punt the football yet. 4 drives, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, and it was after they were into Braves red zone. Powers, late toss to Freitas, spins away, breaks a tackle, and has a first down. Freitas turns a loss into a first down. That's just why he's so special. So Trojan moved the ball smart to get out of bounds. Trojans do have all 3 timeouts remaining, but you want to conserve that clock. Petaluma not a team used to running a 2-minute drill like they kind of have to here. And kind of reason I brought up that experience is the Trojans struggles on the road, and it's not just that they have a young team this year and haven't looked terrific on the road with probably their best performance at the opener this year to Montgomery, but last 2 years, really now 3 years counting this year, they haven't looked good. Prieto up the middle has a couple, but that's all. Actually, it wasn't a first down before, so now they have the first down. That will stop the clock until they reset the change. 2:48 left to go, and now they run the clock. 21-14, Petaluma leading Justin Siena here on this late September Friday night. Ball at the 32. Petaluma really just did not have last 2 years, doesn't have an impressive road win. Again to Prieto, and again, not a lot of room. They've gone up the middle, and there haven't been too many holes. Prieto had 1 huge run. It was a 40-yarder. He's a strong man, SCL wrestling champion. Had that 90-yard run, spectacular run against El Molino, where he went all beast mode. He has 247 yards on 40 carries. Can be a workhorse. And you do still want to go up the middle and hope to wear down this defensive line a little more, and you'll see the benefits of the fourth quarter. They fake the toss out wide up the middle, nowhere to go. Pedersen was on the carry. He gets nothing. Clock continuing to run. You're kind of in a funny spot now. Do you call a timeout, or do you let the clock run and not give the Braves an opportunity for a late momentum-changing strike at the end of this half? 3rd and 8, they're going to even have him lose a yard on the play. Powers passed the ball last time, but it's 10 men in the box. He's going to roll out, avoids a pressure, and the catch is made, but it's not far enough. Powers had to go so far back because of the pressure that Prieto, who split out of the running back position out to the flat, only picks up about 2 extra yards at the 35. And deep inside your own territory, there's no way that you could go for it. Timeout, Justin Siena. That's their last one. Factor that is they're going to get the offense, and for the first time all night, the Trojans will punt the football away. So a key stop by this Brave defense. Trojans got a little conservative on that play carry. Yes, you do want to wear down a defensive line, but if Freitas is working, it's kind of your best option. Homecoming festivities on, and they're going to have ceremonies here at the halftime. They've had a cheerleader performance as well, but because it's homecoming, the Petaluma Varsity cheerleaders, again, will not be allowed to perform. There's too many other things going on here on this festive atmosphere at Dodge Stadium. Nick Ayers onto the punt. This is about the same time Last week, when there was a block, I would compliment him on his good punting, but that's not a good idea. He gets the punt away. It was close. Fair catch is called for some reason. I have no idea why. He had miles of space, but the Braves will take over at the 31. No timeouts left in 58 seconds. And Petaluma fans just sigh a deep breath, a deep sigh of relief after Ayers gets the punt off. When he's got it foot into one, he's averaged 33.6 yards, including a 65-yarder last week at American Canyon. We know Donahoe can throw the football downfield, and that is what we expect to see here. If the defensive line can get to him, not allow him to scramble, you keep him in the box. The secondary's been good enough for those first 5 to 10 seconds that it's going to be hard for the Braves offense to function if they can do that. But a lot of what-ifs. No timeouts, so they're going to have to look towards the sideline. First downs will stop the clock, but only momentarily. Donahoe throwing across his body. It is intercepted. Jack Hartman, the sophomore, with the pick. Or did he, was it incomplete? I'm sorry, it was incomplete. Thought Hartman was able to grab his second career interception, but it only hit his hands. But Donahoe was hoping for a miracle there. He threw into all sorts of coverage. So no interception. It's 2nd and 10 to stop the clock with 49 seconds left to go here in the first half. We will have the stats for you from the first half provided by our statistician Kevin Jackson. Full second half coming up after the halftime break. Donahoe looking for the quick pass out wide and stepping out of bounds. The Braves wide receiver, and finally, someone else catching a football. It's Anatoni, the junior running back, with the catch for the Braves. Now, obviously, we've seen plenty of Albano Dito tonight for the Braves. So 3rd and 7 from the 33, still 44.6 seconds left. If the Trojans can force a stop, especially if they can not have a clock run down, they have still a slim chance possibly doing something offensively, and they're going to break pressure here. Good job by the Braves offensive line. Donahoe is running for his life. He should just throw the football away. Now he's got more space. What an adventure this is. Now he's going to try to run for it, and did he get there? A late flag. Oh, Coach Christ is furious. That is one of the more angry I have ever seen head coach Rick Chris for Petaluma. It's obviously on the Trojans. I don't know if they ruled a late hit or what there, but he is not happy at all. It was hard to see from our angle where the Donahoe got out, but I mean, it was 20 seconds of scrambling all over the field. He's so agile. He's big too. He's hard to get to, and it's not a defensive line that's super speedy for Petaluma. 6'1", 185. It is. They're going to rule a personal foul. Late hit. So they should move the football. There's definitely the yard markers are all over the place right now, but this is going to be a pickup, and now we have another flag. What is going on here? Well, this is absolutely not the way that you want to end this first half if you're Petaluma. I don't know if it's that sportsmanlike or something. But these last minutes of the first half have been an Achilles nightmare. Donahoe had a brilliant run, but now with the late penalty and I think an unsportsmanlike on the Trojan sideline, the Braves are going to get a nice walk downfield. Kind of keep your cool here, and you kind of have flashbacks to what happened last Friday night at American Canyon. So that the late hit moves it to the 45. Now you take it 15 more yards, and you go all the way to the 30-yard line. They're nearly in field goal range. They're absolutely a chance for Donahoe to throw a touchdown. And these last 30 seconds are going to totally indicate where the momentum is in this one. I mean, it's already sided towards the Braves at the end, and they get the football to start the second half. Timeout Petaluma. That's a smart timeout by Coach Chris. How's that play? Could have not gone a whole lot worse for them. And they'll just talk it over, calm everyone down. And if they could go to the locker room now, they certainly would. 29.4 seconds left to go. Braves will be at the 33. Discipline has been so good in this one for Petaluma, and you finally saw it fall apart. And I didn't see the personal foul call. We were at a bad angle, but there didn't look to be anything there. And the reaction from Coach Chris on that had you wondering why that flag was thrown. But nonetheless, you have to hold your cool, and the Petaluma sideline was obviously frustrated with the call. And someone says something it shouldn't have. Here we go. Trojans still have 2 more timeouts if they need them. Pass rush has been good, but they haven't been able to get to Donahoe the last couple drives. And he's creative, he scrambles, and he can get wide receivers open when that happens. They've certainly brought the blitz. They'll do it again. It is incomplete. Gianni Johnson nearly got that interception, diving on the ground to pass it away, but Donahoe a little short. And that's not what you want to see if you're the Braves. They're gonna call a roughing the passer. My goodness! Wow. I would not want to be a Petaluma player that's going to be in the locker room in 25.2 seconds, because Coach Chris is gonna have a earful. That is why Donahoe is limping and roughing the passer. Something that we saw American Canyon do a lot last week in the second half when the game was done. And the Trojans are just paving a path for the Braves right into the end zone. It's the yellow brick road right now for them. Literally, it's yellow with all the flags. So now at the 18, and a chance for the Braves to tie this one up. Petaluma, we'll get a look at the stats, but they've certainly been the better team for the majority of this half. It might be a little shaky. They're stamping on the bleachers here. Completion out wide to Antonio. Picks up a few, gets out of bounds, which you have to do. And Dono should be smart, the three-year starting senior, not to throw over the middle, but you really can't unless it's in the end zone with only 20.6 and no timeouts. So 2nd and 5 from the 13. The Trojan sideline has to cheer that there were just no flags on the one. Donahoe will set up in the gun. He's got 3 to the right, 2 to the left. He's got a man, and that's how you do it. Take 5 seconds, get 5 more yards. And it was pretty much the same play, too. Anatoni with 5 more. It's going to bring up a 1st and goal. There's still 15.7 seconds left. Petaluma's going to call another timeout, and you certainly have plenty of time here to run a couple plays, probably at least 3 for Justin Siena into the end zone. And if you don't get in, kick a field goal. See Coach Chris at the center of that huddle. He's done such a good job with Petaluma. But closing quarters, closing halves, that's so important, and we have not seen that at the end of this first half. Nominees to the left of the football field want to come out. They're getting cheered on by the student section, but with all these penalties and hubbub in this last minute, they're preventing the pomp and circumstance and the ceremonies to begin. That's probably half the reason the student section's here. Donahoe, all day. Now Alexander's chasing after him. He gets away, looks in the end zone, it's dropped. Oh my, half the fans here standing up. Donahoe, so brilliant, moving around, and my, oh my, that one stinks. Chase Rosenthal had a 66-yard touchdown against Casa, but he could not haul in a catch that you make 99 out of 100 times. And no matter the roar of the crowd, Petaluma needs to find a way to get in Donahoe's face because they're scrambling and moving out of the pocket, but he's almost better outside of the pocket. 7.9 seconds left in this first half. Probably time for 2 more plays. Donahoe scrambles. This is going to be it for the first half. He's just going to have to throw it in the end zone. There's no time left. He throws in the end zone. It's incomplete. And after all of that, there is a flag. Oh, my goodness. You have to pray, if you're Coach Chris, that it is holding. And if it is not, the Trojan sideline might explode and the world might end. It is. It is holding. That is the end of the half. There to decline it. And mercifully, luckily, happily for Petaluma, they're going to head into the locker room. Still up a touchdown. The Braves on that drop pass really blow one there. They should have tied up this game, but the Trojans almost gift-wrapped it to them. Good job by the offense, though, in that first half. And Coach Chris has to be happy with the way his offense has looked so far. Only 1 punt. Freitas has been big. Powers has looked confident. The defense, it's been up and down so far. They're putting pressure on Donahoe, but he's getting out of the pocket and finding receivers. We'll see what adjustments they make. They're not headed to the locker room. They're headed to that little spot over there, but what adjustments they will make there, we will see. Second half is coming up next here from Justin Siena. All right, we are ready for the second half here from Dodd Stadium at Justin Siena High School, Napa, California. It's about 30 minutes north of Vallejo, 45 northeast of, about more like an hour northeast of San Francisco. And of course, if you're from Petaluma, it's about an hour drive with traffic. No, probably a little more like an hour 15 with traffic. It felt like forever. Really about 45 minutes with no traffic. Trojan's getting ready to kick out. Neither team got much time to arrive on the field because the homecoming ceremonies were long and very ceremonious, I would say. Some, as you can see, that player running out, had to participate in the festivities. Didn't get to spend much time in the locker room. I mean, they went on and on before they announced a winner, and it was actually not a football player that won. But the student section was very overjoyed with that. See if Petaluma, after halftime, can kind of put the end of that half behind them. The Braves certainly have the momentum. We do have the first half stats for you, and they're kind of what you expect based on watching it. The Trojans were relatively dominant in that first half statistically. Trojans outgained the Braves by over 100. They gained them by 105 yards, 260 yards, 255 for Justin Siena. Trojans averaging 10 yards a play. Obviously, that turnover on that interception, though, is key. Here's the squibber. It's down to the 35. Then went over to the Trojan sideline for a little bit, and principal Petaluma High School, David Sturrett, was over there and had a conversation with him about that kickoff. So kind of the trouble with that, and Hogg able to get it through that first line, but it's still not horrible starting field possession for the Braves. The momentum's on their side. We'll see what adjustments they made. Keep Donahoe in the pocket, and often that means really arcing your blitzes and your rushes out wide, and you kind of build a box around the quarterback and make it a literal pocket that he can't escape from, because right now Donahoe's been able to escape, he's been able to scramble, and that's the best offense that's worked. Probably showing blitz here on the first play of the second half. It's the give, though, up the middle. There's little room for Morales Florentino, who worked hard in that first half, but didn't get a whole lot going. Trojan defensive line was certainly strong. So second and 9, 11:30 left to go here in the third quarter. This is going to be a very lengthy game. It was a long first half, a long halftime, and it's nearly 9 o'clock by the time we start the second half. This time it's a fake by Donahoe, fakes the pass, and he's got a massive hold on the middle. He's got speed too, and he's got 6 points for the Braves. He can pass, we knew that, but he can run the football and await the extra point, but we might just have a tie game. said keep him in the pocket. That's what the Trojans did. But the issue is that you open up a hole down the middle. And he really impressed with the speed, did the senior. He's 6'3", you get those long legs. There was no stopping him. He goes 60 yards for the touchdown. And it took less than a minute for the Braves to tie this game up. That was such an ugly extra point that the whole crowd shouted ew in disgust, but looks don't matter as long as it goes through the uprights. It did. We're tied at 21, 11:09 left to go in the third. Stats for you as we making our way through the third quarter. Patterson leading the Trojans defensively, 3 tackles. He's been good. Michael Fitzgerald, we haven't mentioned as many defensive players for the Braves, but the defensive lineman's been good with 3 tackles and an assist. Morales Florentino, we've said his name a lot. 6 rushes coming into the second half, but only 17 yards. Good job by the Trojans limiting him. But Luigi Albino Dito, he was especially the target early. 4 catches, 67 yards. Haggia showing he's got a leg. Boots it down to the 10. Now the Braves will pick it up, but there's a hole. Oh, what a tackle! Shoe string. Gianni Johnson might have just saved 6 there. Receiver delayed, not necessarily the best decision, but the blockers are ready, and Johnson was the only one on block. But the junior who went to NCS last year for long jump and has had a decent game at quarterback with a nice pass breakup makes the tackle. The Braves start right at their 20. Solomon Anatoni, we saw him get going late. He has 5 catches, 59 yards. That's your first half stats. Brought to you by ASB teacher advisor Kevin Jackson, who's down on the sideline recording all of it. Donahoe back to work, but he has to be feeling confident, and he'd love if his run game can get going. Morales Florentino getting about 4. The defensive line looking a little bit more worn down for Petaluma here in this third quarter. Who has the conditioning, the endurance now? This has been a shootout. The defenses haven't had a lot of answers. The Trojans need to be smart with the football. That's what you're scared of, turnovers right now, because Petaluma overall with Freitas just show that they have a more potent offense, I think, out there. But turnovers or undisciplined, lack of discipline, like you saw in that first half, is key. Great job by Petaluma wrapping up. That was Anatoni. Late flag comes in. Can't believe they would call a late hit on that. But we'll await the call. Good group of Trojans in there. It was Pomey and Ayers, who we don't mention a lot at linebacker, but he's terrific. And I believe it is going to be holding, so Siena will go the wrong way. What's a shot block? I rarely see that in high school. But if you're not into all that football lingo, it's going down low as an offensive lineman and basically taking out the legs of the defender. It's dangerous, which is the reason it is not allowed. So Justin Siena suddenly backs up 10 yards, and now it's 2nd and 12 from their own 19. It's not been an easy night for this Trojan defense. This is a good offense that we've seen walk. They hang in there. Maybe they've been so good at forcing turnovers. Could Petaluma force a turnover of their own? Kind of avoid the back and forth that this game has been. Out wide, and he's got space. Kid now will push him out all the way at the 42. Coach Chris making sure there was no talking from anybody. He's worried about that. I wouldn't blame him after the end of that half, but it is Albino Dito again. The nice short catch and run, and just like that, Braves get out of their own goalpost. A 20-yard pass play. Busy night for Donahoe. He's run for a touchdown. He's pass for 2, excuse me, but give up the middle, nowhere to go. Defensive line with Alexander. Harmabios had a good game. provided the pressure, but they haven't been able to finish. Coaches has been in there. Of course, Sabina and DeCarly. Was all 5 starters returned last year on that defensive line. And the lines were so key for Petaluma in their success last year that they control the trenches. Any football coach will tell you that is where the game is won. And the Trojans won it last year. It's a younger, more unexperienced team that's had some struggles. But they've so far been able to really piece it together when it's mattered most. Dono, quick slant, it's tipped! It's on the ground. Those get a defense excited when it's tipped up in the air, but that was Alexander with those big mitts again. That's the second time he's done that this year. And that's what you tell defensive linemen. Alexander might be not a lot of experience, but he reaches those big hands up of his as the pass comes over, and often a completion can turn to incompletion, maybe even an interception. That one fell harmlessly to the ground. But he has done everything the coaches have asked him from him, and I think a little more. 3rd and 11 from the 40. Donahoe, he's scrambling. That's not been a good sign. What an adventure. He makes another bad miss. And finally dragged down at the 30. The Trojans get a sack. It's going to be a loss of 20. There is a flag on the field. I think there was holding. It's been remarkable by the offensive line, too, for the Braves, that there's been a good 4 to 5 of these just mad scramble plays with Donahoe 20 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and there haven't been more holdings. The Trojans will happily decline that one, and the Braves are going to have to put the football away. Trojans get their 6th sack of the year, their 3rd of this one. Donahoe got away from a couple. He got away from Sabina. Alexander finally brought down by Daniel DeCarlo. So 4th and 25, and obviously a must punt. Now the Trojans a chance that their defense has gone to key stop to a little bit more room back in this lead that they really thoroughly earned with their play in that first half. Nonetheless, they're accustomed to playing close games until the last 2 against Del Molino. And this ball is low, and good job getting it off. There's also a flag. There might be a false start. Not a bad punt down to 37, but watch the flag here. I have a feeling this is going to happen again. Yes, it will. False start. And I wouldn't be surprised if Coach Chris makes them do it again. The punt, or the snap, was dropped by the punter, which Shane Rosenthal. Good composure to be able to get it away, but it was close. There were some Trojans' eager hands coming in. So now it's going to be 4th and 29. They'll kick from the 23. Mostly been disciplined with these 2 teams that I think that's one thing I expect. And there's 2 very talented players on both sides, and often a battle of the stars. It's been Freitas v. Donahoe tonight. So far, Freitas has done just a little bit more. Also do have a Vine Valley Athletic League score update. Just 10 minutes south of here at Memorial Stadium. It is all Vintage. They are leading Casa 30-0. I don't think a huge shocker, but you never knew after Sonoma winning there last week and beat Napa. Ends up being all for naught. It lands at about the exact same spot it did originally, and Petaluma will take over at the 39. 6:10 left to go. 6:18 left to go in the 3rd. 28-21, the Trojans lead. The most returning starters out of any Vine Valley Athletic team is a Braves team that win it with confidence, but the Trojans a chance to put them at 0-2. Great fake by Powers. Now can he use his legs to get away? Yes, he can. He takes a huge hit at the 45, but he springs right back up. And just an excellent fake. When you see the fullback on that read option get sandwiched like that, you know you've made the right decision. And that was the issue last week. Powers was just making horrible reads, bad decisions. Sometimes they didn't seem to know who was getting the football. It has been so smooth tonight. And even though I have not heard great things about how the practices were going, it looks like they've really ironed it out. Prieto in the backfield. He continues to do his quiet workhorse thing. Powers pulls that one out from Prieto's belly, and that time it was not a good decision. They were waiting. That time was the Brave defense, and Colby Bates, the senior 6-pound, 225 middle linebacker, wrestles Powers to the ground for a 1-yard loss, second and 11. Student section for the Braves and their cheerleaders trying to encourage the Trojans on, who are fine taking some more time off this clock. This is mentioned, it's been a long one, and bodies are going to be hurting tomorrow after this one. It's the give to Freitas. He only gets a few. The woman who's been yelling all game yells number 5 has the ball. She knows that's not a good thing if you're a Brave fan. But that time, Freitas able to be neutralized, more or less, only a couple yards. And it brings up a 3rd and 9 from the 41. This has to be 4-down territory, though. And you can certainly play it that way as well. Is Prieto again in the backfield. Powers does fake. He wanted the screen, now looks over the middle. It's incomplete. That was a dangerous throw. He was hoping to go to the check down, which was Pedersen, who had rolled over to his left, but the Braves had it covered, and that's one that you might want to just see Powers throw away. He did panic a little there with pressure in his face. He's largely been well controlled, and I am wrong. They are going to play it conservative tonight and punt the football away. Did also want to mention it's Colt Powers' birthday tonight. Would presume he's turning 17, but chance for a sweet win on his sweet 17th birthday. So Nick Ayers on for his second punt of the night. It's a low liner. You might have thought about letting that in the end zone. That's why you think about letting it into the end zone. The Trojans special teams has been so much better tonight, and I did see them practicing that a lot over the week after the disaster it was last week. An excellent tackle by Justin Plumtree, our Trojan Live correspondent. It's a lot of fun to work with in Trojan Live, and he comes with a great tackle there. A lot of players on the bus that like to put their headphones in, be quiet. You still hear Plumtree. Plumtree's always talking. He's always chattering. He brings energy, and you always need that guy that's a little bit of the heartbeat and soul. Plumtree can be that on any team. He is a Trojan Live. That's the broadcasting team. Nice tackle there. So the Braves at the 13. 1st and 10. Trojans coming off a stop. It's been a rare one, but back-to-back stops and nowhere for Morales Florentino to go. My goodness. Excellent job by Cole Coaches. He makes his second tackle of the night. He's racked up 9 on the year, the 5'9", 195-pound senior defensive lineman. No gain on the play. Don't have a score on that American Candy Sonoma Valley game, but very curious on that one. So we'll try to get that one to you, but Trojans will get Vintage back home next week, and it looks like it's going to be a Crushers team, and it just crushed Casa Grande. Should be a good one, and we'll be live just before 7 o'clock from Brazil's patio at Ellison Field. Should be a great atmosphere. It's been a really fun atmosphere at Ellison Field for the first 2 games. If the Trojans can pull off a victory, they'll be feeling good. Slot sideline comeback pass from Donahoe to Albino Dito. Picks up 6. It makes it a 3rd and reasonable, but there's been no room to move up the middle for the Braves. You're almost certain they're passing the football. It's getting late here in the 3rd. 3:31 left to go. And now we have a false start, or is it offsides? There's flags, and I believe it's going to be offsides. Awaiting a call, but it is automatic first, and you get a team on 3rd down, and it's the last thing you can do. Trojan defense has done an excellent job, even last week, in holding teams getting off the field. on third down. 23 for 40 coming in today, getting off the field on third down. Mentioned also they forced a lot of turnovers, 10 in total, 6 fumble recoveries, 4 picks. Delayed handoff to Morales Florentino. He's got a hole. Hartman brings him down at the 44, but not before he picks up 15. The biggest carry for the sophomore running back. And the later this game goes, the more that defensive line will be worn down. The later this clock runs, the more pressure is on both teams. We mentioned right in the open how important this game is for both teams. Coming off disappointing losses to Open Vine Valley Athletic League, every game's going to be competitive, but if you're on the cellar 0-2 after 2, that's hard to recover from. Donahoe. He's going to launch it, and the catch is made at the 28. The Trojans neutralized in the second quarter pretty well with Albano Dito. I somehow cannot seem to remember his name. He's making every catch. He dropped the ball, though, actually. No, actually, a penalty, so there's holding. So Albano Dito's catch will come back. Fortunate for the Trojans, but he's gone free once again. Now, there have been holes in the secondary that have been exploited. The sophomore Hartman has started every game. He's been good, but I think they've picked on him a little bit. We've seen Johnny Johnson provide really good coverage, but Candow's been beat a couple times on that left side. Haven't seen too much of Cristobal. Both Cristobal and Candow had remarkable games against Montgomery in that season opener. Both with back-to-back spectacular pass deflections and really helped the defense, only allowed 7 points to a very good Viking attack. Time for Donahoe. Whoa! There is no flag. That was a hard hit over the middle to Dito. Hartman and Havard were in on the coverage, but they were waiting for it this time, and it was a loud collision. You could hear it from here. But incomplete. A little bit surprised to see no flag there. Trojans might have escaped one. But 2nd and 21 for the 34. 2:26 remaining in the third quarter. This has been a fascinating game here from Justin Siena. It's been filled with about everything. What do you expect in the Vine Valley Athletic League? Pomey was coming up the middle. They pick him up, and now Donahue is doing his circles, running, Houdini act, whatever you call it. He can throw it across his body, but he runs out of bounds. I don't think he realized how much yardage he just lost on that. Not even close to the line of scrimmage. He's going to lose a good 5 more yards on that. But that's an excellent job on that scramble drill. If you're a quarterback or safety, you just got to stay with your man, and that can be hard for 10, 15 seconds. The defensive line struggle to bring them down, but they go backwards again. 3rd and 23. Be interesting to see if they bring a blitz here, as Donahoe's going to have to throw the ball down the field. This defense has clearly made some adjustments in this second half, and obviously the big run by Donahoe to open it up. They've looked a little bit more stout on these last 2 drives. Well, that was, you just can't do that. You cannot run backwards while the ball is getting snapped to you. Well, I don't know if Donahoe thought the ball was going to be snapped earlier, but they go 5 more yards back. Just not how you draw it up. Tyler Streblow, the offensive coordinator for the Braves, can't be happy. It is 3rd and a mile. Trojans have Vintage next week, and then they'll have a much-needed bye. I mean, this is not the Sonoma County League. This is exhausting, hard, physical football day in and day out, and every game's going to be competitive and not easy. You have to bring your A game every week. He's looking downfield. It is somehow not intercepted. Oh, that's going to be a penalty. That's an excellent job by Havard there. Pass incomplete. There was a little bump from Havard as he knocked it incomplete, and they looked at each other, and Havard, who can be testy, backed off, and he's the one that forces the penalty there. And that is smart football from the senior Jacob Havard, and that will make Coach Chris more satisfied, as it is the Braves that time that are undisciplined. It was John Horn, the wide receiver, but Donahoe, even though he pointed to him, was thrown into double coverage. And they're going to back them up 15, but you also lose the down. I believe, no, you don't lose the down. So they are going to have the defense stay on the field. A little risky, but it's 3rd and 41. Just add one more to that. And you just kind of play prevent defense. You would think if you're Petaluma, but they're not really. Freitas is back. Okay, it is 4th down, so the scoreboard is wrong. Freitas is back to receive the punt. They do add on the yardage, so punting out of the end zone. Liner, Freitas will field it. Look out! Freitas, oh, what a tackle. Freitas cutting to his left, slams his hand on the football. He knew if he broke that one, he might be dancing in the end zone about now. Good special teams by the Braves, but excellent field position for the Trojan offense to strike here potentially and take a 2-possession lead. And even though the Braves came out of the halftime with the momentum, the Trojans kind of washed off that last minute. That was undisciplined, sloppy football. They were almost paving the way for the Braves to march downfield. The Trojans can compete with any team in this league if they don't give them the ball game. Well, there was a fake, and came around to Prieto on the delayed handoff on the draw, and he loses a yard. 2nd and 11 from the 37. Justin Siena, the smallest school in all the Vine Valley Athletic League. They talked about in this season taking in that underdog role. Delayed handoff to Freitas, and a string shoe tackle. We saw a similar play earlier that Freitas broke for 20. It is so hard to defend. Powers does an excellent job with the read deep into that belly of the fullback. It was Prieto again, and the defense bite, or bit would be the correct grammar there. And it's so hard to start Freitas once he gets moving. Picks up the 1st down, ball to the 26. Justin Siena has taken on that underdog role. They did have a lot of experience and a lot of hope coming into this year. Trojans have showed, though, they've not accounted for the lack of experience. Freitas is just making man miss everywhere. Manages to pick up about a yard. And his ankle has looked fine tonight. You continue to watch it, but as the clock runs down, we should have one more play left in this 3rd quarter. He has looked totally healthy, and it has not affected him at all. And obviously, you go, what if he had played last week against American Canyon and the offense had functioned as normal, but you just look forward on your season and take it one game at a time. Clock down to 17 seconds. This may be the last play of the quarter. Get the fake to Prieto. And again, to give to Freitas. He picks up a few more. You wear down that line, and we've reached the end of 3 here. Both teams trade back-to-back touchdowns, and then the defense stepping up. But Petaluma is threatening to make this a 2-possession game. It's 28-21 at the end of 3 here from Justin Siena High School. Justin Siena will face Sonoma Valley next week, so we get the first play of the 3rd. Breaking a tackle is Freitas, wrestled down at the 20. He got back to the line of scrimmage, but not a lot more. That brings up a 4th down. Kind of laying on top of him. That's what you don't want to see. Your star running back. That's the same player again who had the personal foul. Lucky not to get another one was John Horn. So Daxton Hogya kicked 3 field goals last week in garbage time all in the 4th quarter. And I would presume that they're going to give Hogya the reins here to kick another one. But this one, it would be a season long. It's from 38 yards. Hogya made all 3 from increasing distance. Actually, his log was exactly 38. So that was his last kick Looks good. Right down the middle. I mean, he can make it from 45. Hugya has nerves of steel. This one really mattered. His biggest field goal he's really kicked in his career. He boots it through. He's 5 for 5 for field goals this year. He only had to make one last year in the NCS playoff game against Acalanes. And he makes it a key 2-possession game. 10:56 left to go in the fourth. 31-21. Petaluma leading the Braves. Night for the Gauchos tonight. They fall 44-0 to the Crushers, who have certainly announced themselves as the favorites, I think, now after their opening bye week in the Vine Valley Athletic League. So they go to 1-0. Casa drops to 1-1. Question is, which one of these teams will join them at 1-1? The loser of the American Canyon Sonoma Valley game will fall to 1-1. The winner will be in first place. Not sure would have predicted that coming in just the last week. But this league is so even, and that makes it fun. The drives aren't, and I don't want to bother everyone by complaining about it, but it's another long drive, and the football team should not have to travel out here again. It's the only road game remaining is Sonoma Valley, which is obviously a much shorter drive. Another squibber, and Justin Siena will take over at the 42. It's an offense that started to stall of late. 3 straight stops for this Petaluma defense. They can just make a couple more. Really a stop and a score here for this Trojan offense. The deficit's going to be insurmountable for the Trojans. They've held their cool in the second half, but they need to for 10:52. They didn't finish in the first half. They did not finish last week in the first half. They must do that here. Donahoe redirecting Morales-Florentino to his left. Sends the man in motion, the give to Morales-Florentino. Credit to this defensive line. Only a few holes, and it's frustrating for the offense when you just do not have a lot of room to move anywhere. And you just become one-dimensional in the passing game. Head coach Rick Chris, 47-34, since taking over in 2010, has mastered this really Petaluma game plan every year, but he has put together a very good game plan both offensively and defensively, and it has showed. They've looked totally ready for everything that the Braves have offered. There's a completion and a broken tackle. He's still going. Hubbard can't bring him down. How does he score? I do not know. Then the Braves are right back in this. My gosh. Should have been a 30-yard pass play. And instead, Albano Dito gets his second touchdown of the game. And with the extra point, we're right back in a 3-point game. 60 yards, and the Trojans missed 4 tackles on that, including some very sure-handed tacklers, such as Havard had a huge game last week defensively. Havard really had his best game of the year defensively last week, but he's going to be shaking his head about that one. It's 31-28. We have 10 minutes remaining here in the fourth. Had 4 tackles last week, a fumble recovery, 2 tackles for loss. He was a beast out there against American Canyon, and a good defensive showing against the Wolves. A couple missed tackles costly, another big booming kick. Greatest will decide to take it out. Special teams have been good on both sides tonight. Greatest makes his way out to the 29. As the clock clicks under 10 left to go in this back and forth affair. It's been a lot of offense. Trojans, however, have led the entire game. Justin Siena's tied it up a couple times. So back and forth in terms of the offensive production, but Petaluma's had the lead and been able to keep it. Of course, Justin Siena blew a lead last week against Casa Grande and came back. They would love to do it the other way around. And that touchdown just re-energized this place again. There's been a couple big plays. And we talked about the Braves being capable of it, but it just really hurt Petaluma. Freitas out to the 49. And he just takes the energy right out of you. The defense is hyped. You just scored a touchdown. And he goes right down to your throat, spinning, turning, diving, whatever adjective you want to use. into Braves territory. 20 yards. Unbelievable game for Freitas tonight. You just understand why they looked so bad last week. And it will be up for Coach Chris to decide next year, to decide how this offense functions without Freitas, because they are running everything through them, and the Braves just can simply not stop them. Toss out wide. This is Pedersen. He has speed as well. Nice hard hit by Pedersen, too, as he heads out of bounds, taking the contact and adding a few more, and he's gained just enough for the first down. Pedersen, last week, they tried to kind of replace him as the Garrett Freitas with some of those tosses, get out wide, get some speed, but without the threat of Freitas, it really ruled Pedersen out from being so effective. And has 81 rushing yards, 18 carries coming into today for the senior captain. 9:16 left to go. Trojans marching down to the 38. Trying to answer the Braves touchdown. That's what they've done all night long. Answer every time Justin Siena has looked like they're changing the momentum. Nice run by Powers there with the fake. See, looked like he was stopped at first drive. Those legs get a couple more. Bates on the tackle for the Braves. I believe there's holding. So this will back the Trojans up 10 and put them against the grain. Not been a lot of penalties offensively. They've done a good job. But a key one there. See the Trojan student section. They're small in number, but loud in voice. I've heard them cheer it a couple times, but you can see the nerves on their faces. They do not want to make a drive out here and watch Petaluma potentially blow this one. Excellent toss out wide. It's Dominic Butts down to the 30, and he's got the first down. The loud lady in the stands says, watch the fake, but the Braves weren't listening to her. They went for Freitas up the middle. Again, the threat of Freitas. And Butts, another player with speed, if you get him out in the open field. Plenty of room, just excellent fake by Powers. Takes a skilled cameraman just to follow it. I can't say I'm there yet. Was not enough for the first down. He's out at the 30, so 2 yards short, but it brings up a 2nd and 2. And he'd love to wind some clock here, too. Not give the Braves too much time. 8:51. Not sure you consider it too much. You don't want to get too conservative, but the later this clock runs, the more you do consider it. Braves have all 3 timeouts left. That was the first miscommunication we've seen all game. Powers was trying to give it to Pedersen, and he wanted to give it to Pedersen, and Pedersen did not want to take it. And Powers is at least smart there, maintains his poise, just kind of goes back and falls down, doesn't make a mess, but they lose 3 there. And suddenly a key 3rd down. Is this in Hague's range? I would doubt it. This is just over 50 from where they are now. Hague was booted some from long range, but I don't know if it's enough. Freitas driving his legs, and I think he got to the marker. If not, he is right there. Now they might have to spot it. He looks like he's just short. Student section rumbling their legs. This is going to be the 4th down of the game right here. Fourth down, and this place is hopping. They were jumping up and down after the 3rd quarter like it was Madison, Wisconsin. And this is going to be the loudest down of the night. 4th and inches. They go to Prieto or Pomey. Pomey, haven't seen much of him of late. They've trusted Prieto on these short downs. They've converted some force as well. Powers likes to fake on these as well. Powers will fake. Does he have enough? I don't think he does. They did fake to Powers, but the Braves were ready. He drove his legs forward. His helmet is off. but it really depends on the spot, and Powers did, driving his legs forward, might have enough, and I think he does. No, he doesn't! My goodness. And you can see the first down markers just on the other side of the 29 there, and the nose of the ball, it must be half an inch short. Wow. The Trojans do not answer. Justin Siena has the ball. 7:10 left, trailing by 3. And the game is going to come down to these last few drives. Can the defense stand up here for Petaluma, or will the Braves come back? Donahoe, know what he can do. Fake, gives it to his wide out, and maybe a yard. Nothing more. It was the leading wide receiver for the Braves, and Anatoni, who's dangerous in the open field, which is why he gave it to him on a screen. But Trojans tackling much better there. They did not tackle well, obviously, on that touchdown that put the Braves back in this game. Trojans led by as much as 10. Justin Siena has never led. 2nd and 10 from the 29. 6:30 left to go and counting. Trojan fans trying to make a little noise of themselves to help out this tired defense. Donahoe running. Here we go again. And it is caught. No, they're saying what are they going to rule? There's a flag. They ruled incomplete. Pomey, who was in there, was signaling that it hit the ground. But there's holding, so it's not going to matter either way. And that's the other thing, if you make them scramble. I mean, there's often bound to be holding, and it's, again, I mentioned it earlier, it's surprising we haven't seen more. But a key penalty will back the Braves up, and it's 2nd and 20, catch or no catch. That controversy will not have to ensue. Well, we mentioned Trojans have been in some close games, but nothing this close. 21-7 over Montgomery. Freitas got a touchdown early in the 4th, kind of put that one away. And then very similar against Terra Linda. Freitas also had a put-away touchdown. That one a little later in the 4th, about midway. But the defense was under pressure a couple times there, and they made stops. And then their 3rd victory, a blowout against El Molino. Just got to take this one snap at a time. Donahoe with lots of time all day. And complete. He was looking down the sideline. Excellent coverage. Gianni Johnson. Horn was the intended receiver. He wants a flag, but Johnson in on the coverage there to swat it away. We have a 3rd and 20. Can the Trojans contain Donahoe in the pocket, though? He has gotten out again. And it's just been a nightmare for the secondary on covering wide receivers for 10 seconds, 15 seconds. The blitzes haven't really worked because he's been able to escape out of the pocket when they blitzed. But all the credit to Donahoe and his experience and what he's done. 3rd and 20 from the 19. You play a little prevent. I mean, you let the Braves on a slant route up the middle, a screen. You trust your tackling here. And sit back a little bit, I think, if you're Petaluma. Donahoe fakes, pass it, pocket collapsing, he is sacked! Mariano Jaramillo with the biggest sack of the game! I'm sorry, it was Michael Pichardo! Can you believe it? The whole Braves section of the field has gone silent, and they're hearing me yell, and it's minimally embarrassing. But Michael Pichardo, a player who has barely played any snaps for the Trojans, just made the biggest play of Petaluma's season. Mariano Jaramillo was in the area too, so it was hard to see who it was. But the Braves are going to punt the football away. The clock is running now to 5, and the Trojan offense has a chance to put this away. There's no fake. Good punt right to Freitas. He could have decided to take it. Instead, he won't. It will roll. It will roll some time off the clock. They downed it to 35. 4:51 left to go. Michael Pichardo with the biggest play of his athletic life. And the Trojans take over at the 40 with a chance with their grind and pound signature Trojan horse offense, you could call it, to put this game away. This is where legends are made. Less than 5 minutes to go, one possession game. Just a little more on Pichardo, though. He was on the cross-country team for the last 3 years. He had never played football coming in, and got to sit next to Savannah Engler, his girlfriend, on the bus again. And Pichardo, talking about Pichardo just having to learn the plays over the summer, and he was getting the start out here due to some of the injuries that the Trojans have suffered, not wanting to risk some of those players. That defensively isn't a huge impact until that play. How is Freitas still going? Oh, he was seemingly brought down after 5 yards, but his legs are not tired, even though he's run a total of, must be over two football fields by now. And he has a first down that keeps the clock running, and you absolutely let that play clock roll on down if you're the Trojan offense. 3 timeouts still for Justin, so they can use all of them if they'd like, but definitely a little early to do that. A touchdown makes this a 2-possession game and all but puts this game away. A field goal, though, keeps it a 1-possession game. High form, haven't seen a lot of that. Give to Freitas. Not that time. He's wrapped up at the line. Excellent job by the Brave defense that time. And again, you fake it to the fullback, give to Freitas, and that's been really hard to stop. Not that time. The clock ticks under 4. And right now, that clock is Petaluma's friend. Coach Chris just hoping that it winds down. See him nervously pacing. This has been a good one. Settle down, he says. 2nd and 8. The Trojans have just crept into Brave territory. Same formation as before, with Prieto as the fullback and Freitas dotting the I. You watch the ref, who's singling down 5 seconds left. They snap it at about 2. Freitas trying to cut back, nowhere to go. Excellent ball pursuit defense. And working as a team. You got to work as a team on the defensive line and help out, and they do that. Freitas was a little slow to get up. That's concerning, but you also want to get up to run the clock. He limping a little, but Justin Siena has used that timeout. So 3:08, 3:05 it's going to be remaining in the 4th. 31-28. Justin Siena will next face Napa here at home. We mentioned they have Sonoma Valley next week. Trojans have Vintage. That's going to be a hard one at home. We will be live streaming that one, so again, check that out. And then we'll also be live streaming the Napa game and, of course, the Egg Bowl against Casa Grande. It's going to be a lot of fun on the 26th, and we'll be on the road when the Trojans travel to Arnold Field to play a much-improved Sonoma Valley team. That's the upcoming schedule. But what happens over the next 3 minutes, in my mind, and I think many Trojan supporters' minds, is going to dictate the entire tone of the rest of this season and how this first year in this new Vine Valley Athletic League goes. And a game that the Trojans are almost certainly at this point statistically going to win, but will it be enough? They got time to talk it over on 3rd and 11. Do you pass the football here? Braves still have 2 more timeouts. They can stop the clock. Maybe a screen to Freitas. That might at least force the Braves to use a timeout, but you're giving you a better chance than right up the middle. Nonetheless, the Trojans have converted some 3rd downs on rushes. This place is loud. There's 10 men in the box. Fakes the toss. Powers downfield. Pass interference. Haver draws the pass interference. It's going to be an automatic first down, and that could be the difference here tonight. Good pass by Powers downfield. He rolls out. He likes to move, similar to Donahoe, just hasn't attempted a lot. But he put that pass in a good spot for Havard. He draws the pass interference, a little bit of tug on the jersey. Looked like Havard was being held back. Moves the 6, 15 yards to the 35. Justin Siena still with 2 timeouts, 3 minutes left. This game is still not over, but a couple more first downs, and Petaluma is not going to even need to run into the end zone. And I think the Braves know the run is coming. They've keyed in on it. They've been some of the best the last few drives defensively, slowing down that run, especially when Freitas isn't in the open field. Time and form, conservative play calling, Prieto. No, it's a fake! Oh, he fooled everyone. Gosh. Freitas goes out of bounds. That's not a good choice, but he has moved the sticks. Now 5 yards, but Prieto looked like he had about 2. Powers fools everyone again. Play design, I mean, you work on that all summer. Takes such precision and an excellent job by the Trojan senior quarterback. He's looked like a senior. He looked like a freshman last week. You have to give all the credit to him. He has improved a lot this week and led this team. 2:55 clocked at stop. Up the middle this time. It's really up the middle. And we find Prieto lying on his back. Depends where they spot it for the first. And obviously the Trojans were right at the same spot and were stopped on that 4th. This time they do convert. That moves the sticks. Brandon LaRocco has to think about timeouts, but he's going to let the clock run. It stops with the sticks being reset, but now it's running again down to 2:40. And with 40 seconds between each play, the Trojans don't have to snap it till about 2:10 remaining on another first. And I'm not great at math, but I think off one more first down, the Braves could not stop the clock. Fake again to Freitas, and he's got 5 more. It's just impossible to read because sometimes you give it to your fullback, sometimes you give it to Freitas, but they've really worked as a good tandem, Prieto and Freitas, and they've all complemented. So now the Braves have to use their timeouts, and they will use their seconds. They have 1 timeout remaining. 31-28, Petaluma leading. The ending of this one is next. 10 minutes away from going 3 hours long. This has been a marathon of a game. Trojans are not going to be out of here until about good 10:30, 10:45 on this late September Friday night. This is what VVAL football is all about, and as much as you can complain, I don't think too many people were happy about the change in all the leagues. This is one of the reasons, the competition in these great games between these even teams. That's what VVAL produces. 2nd and 6 from the 20. Give to Prieto. Driving his feet for a couple more, trying to wear down that defensive line. You got to make sure to hold on to the football as well. Not let any issues happen. We have another timeout by the Braves. All right, key 3rd down here. Going backwards. So the shaky camera there, but I think he saw it clear. Freitas, the toss to him, and the Braves were waiting for it. They go backwards, and Coach Christ on this key 4th down play will call a timeout. They run the clock all the way down to 1:24. There are no timeouts for the Braves, and this is where head coach Rick Chris makes the big bucks. I'm not sure they're that big. It's high school football. But this is his decision here. Do you go with Daxton Agia, kick the field goal? It's in his range. It's very similar to the one he kicked before. That is the difference right now. A 38-yarder. I think this would be 1 more yard. It'd be about 39 yards. Or do you go for it? 4th and 7. And risk giving the ball to Justin Siena. If you get the first down, the game is done. If you kick the field goal, presumably you go up 6. And Justin Siena, after the kickoff and all, will get the ball back with a chance to win the football game with a touchdown with about 1:10 left, but no timeouts. But the Braves have shown the ability to do a big play. Coach Chris has had to have made his decision by now. And he's going to have to come out very soon. Petaluma still in their huddle over there. They obviously made a decision. We will see. This place is loud, field goal or going for it. It's 7 yards. They are going for it. Coach Chris is trying to win it here. Just saw to win the game. Powers fakes, looking. It's complete for the first down. And Petaluma is going to defeat Justin Siena here tonight. Unbelievable. It's Havard for the first down. Coach Chris rides the riverboat, rolls the dice. A gutsy play call, and senior to senior delivers. Havard did not have a catch coming into today, but the Trojans complete the most important pass of the evening, and all they're going to have to do is take one knee, and they somehow, some way, survive Justin Siena, and they're going to leave the Napa Valley with a victory here tonight. No timeouts for the Braves. They cannot stop the clock. You don't want 12 men on the field. Butts hurries off. They'll take the knee. This is going to hurt for the Braves as they drop their second straight in the VVAL. But this is a season-defining, season turnaround victory for Petaluma here tonight. Powers gutsy when he needed to, but we are going to remember that Michael Pichardo sack that gave the ball back to Petaluma to clinch it. All they are hyped over there, waving their signs and cheering. They are into it. There's the celebration out in the stands. Petaluma Trojans are going to go to 4-2. The Justin Siena Braves fall to 3-3. Petaluma goes to 1-1 in the VVAL. The Braves fall to 0-2. What a memorable one here tonight. It took nearly 3 hours, but the Trojans pull out the victory. Final score, 31-28. Interviews are coming up next.
We are here with Garrett Freitas after the Trojans win a classic against Justin Siena. Crazy game. You had 247 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns. You didn't even play or practice. You didn't play last week, didn't practice the whole week. How are you able to put out a performance like this?
I'm going to be honest, adrenaline. It's been a tough week. Last week or the week before I got hurt, and then I had to play this whole game sick, which is tough, but I get in the game and it's just natural and it's all my adrenaline kicks in. I got to thank the line too. Without them, I wouldn't do what I did, so huge shout out to them.
Last week, the offense just looked really out of sorts without you in it. Even when you weren't getting the rushing yards, everything just looked a lot smoother. How important do you feel just your presence out on the field is to having the offense run smoother?
Well, in the huddle, I keep everyone calm. I motivate. I keep everyone up when things aren't going good, and Cole and I have a really good connection when it comes to meshes and the handoffs and just how we work. So it makes everything's a lot smoother and easier when I'm playing with them.
Felt like so many times in this game that you guys were on the brink of blowing it time and time again. Just felt like a lot of times if anything could go wrong, it was going to go wrong to keep Justin Siena in the game. How are you guys able to keep your heads up, and what does that continue to say about this young team finding ways to gutsily pull it out?
We have a lot of fight. We definitely didn't give up. They had a lot of opportunities. We made some mistakes we need to fix next week. We have a big game, but this team has a lot of heart, a lot of fight, and we didn't give up till the end, and that's what brought us to the W.
Thank you so much, Garrett. Congratulations. All right, we are here with the birthday boy and starting quarterback of the varsity football team, Cole Powers. Last week, the offense really struggled out there. You just didn't look comfortable out there. Totally different story tonight. You guys were really good the whole game. How are you able to totally turn it around against Justin Siena?
We had a great week of practice. We watched film, worked hard, and we just came out here ready to go.
Garrett Freitas wasn't playing last week, was playing this week. How big of a difference does that just make overall in the offense running smoother and have everyone improve?
It's huge to have Garrett back. It's great. Everyone comes together perfectly well, and Garrett went off tonight. He did really well.
Couple vital plays late in this game, especially that 4th down. Why did you guys decide to go for it and take us through that completion to Jacob Havard to salt away the game?
It just goes to show that Chris has trust in me and our receivers, and we just didn't want to put ourselves in a situation to where they could have some breakaway play. So it was great that it worked out, and we're excited.
Coach Chris called the game next week, the championship game. You guys are going up against the Vintage Crushers, probably the favorite going into VVAL. How do you guys approach a really good Vintage team?
We don't care about rankings, projections. It doesn't matter. We're going to go out there, work hard next week, and beat them.
Thank you so much, Cole.
Yeah,
here with the head coach of the varsity football team, Rick Christ, after you guys pull out the victory against Justin Siena tonight. It was a crazy game. It went nearly 3 hours, and you guys just couldn't put it away, but you were able to find a way to win. What do you think the game said about the team?
Well, I think when we got into situations where we needed something big, we were able to do it at some key points, where last week we weren't able to. I thought the offense played much better. We almost had 500 yards offense and to their 300, so a little bit closer game than I had anticipated, but that we had the one turnover, but I thought we executed very, very well, and very proud of them.
You called the game very aggressively, especially on that 4th down. You could have kicked a field goal, given it back for them, but decided to go for it on 4th and 7. Why did you decide to go for it there, and how was the aggressive mentality pay off in this one?
Well, we already had them pinned back. I wanted to keep them pinned back, and we hadn't thrown the ball much, and we were on, we were kind of on our sideline, and I just thought Jacob Havard could get open, and they executed it perfectly, so it was good.
And next week you called it the championship game against a really exceptional Vintage team. What does the team need to improve on against an outstanding Crushers team?
Well, first off, every game from here on out is a championship game because we got a loss. So we have to have that mentality. That's really what we're talking about, is we got to go into every game thinking it's a championship game. Tonight was the same way. Vintage is a running team. They're going to come right at us. They're going to try to pound us, and we're going to have our A game on defense, and they're going to be very aggressive on offense. On their defense. So we're going to have to execute on offense like we did tonight, and you got to take care of the ball and take our opportunities.
Thank you so much, Coach. Congratulations. All right, that wraps it up here from Dodd Stadium. Just a crazy game here in Justin Siena. The Trojans pulled out 31-28, and they didn't play a perfect game, and it was different than those Terra Linda Montgomery games that I would say they really won ugly because they were able to pull it out even though there wasn't a lot of offense. Kind of the opposite way here. Defense wasn't great at times. Donahue really got things going, and the Trojans probably should have put this game away a lot earlier, and they just couldn't, and the Braves hung around, but it just felt like, especially with this electricity on this homecoming night, it was a hard road atmosphere for Petaluma, that things were going to fall apart in the last moment, but it was aggressive play calling, as Coach Chris said. He trusted Cole Powers, he trusted Garrett Freitas, Jacob Havard with that key tackle, but we also saw the depth of the team tonight. I think Michael Pichardo's sack is remarkable play, and we saw some more players get involved in the offense. If Garrett Freitas is out there, it truly changes everything, and this offense was absolutely outstanding here tonight. Hey, Justin.
I just want to say a big thank you to Griffin because he comes out, travels with us. Travel sucks. Long traffic.
Long.
So I just want to thank you, Griffin. We all appreciate it.
Thanks, Justin.
As football players, you do a better film than our game film from up there. So
I don't know about that.
Trust us, it's a lot better. So we just want to say thank you.
Thanks, Justin. I really appreciate it. It's a lot of fun. I wouldn't miss it for the world.
I'm here.
Yes, it's just you, Justin. You know, you had a nice tackle on special teams tonight. Yeah.
I'm pretty special.
Yeah, I shouted you out on that. Yeah. So, anyways, that was the Justin Plumtree that we talked about earlier, but truly a remarkable game tonight. The Trojans were able to hold on, and it's a younger team, but they've shown their poise, and next week it's going to be really challenging against Vintage. They have a running back named Villani Shumakal. I'm not sure I'm saying it right, but it's going to be challenging, and anyone can win any game in the Vine Valley Athletic League if Petaluma can show the poise to win these close games, and Freitas can continue to put 200-plus yards on the board. You want to see a little more improvement from the defense. Trojans can still beat anyone. Should be interesting against Vince's live stream. Do not miss it from Brazil's Patio. If you missed any of this game, you can go back on the stream. It's all here. It'll be up every week from Thursday through Sunday until the year is over. That's going to do it here from Dodd Field. For everyone at Trojan Live, I'm Griffin Epstein. Final score here tonight, Petaluma 31, Justin Siena 28. Good night.